crazy, so loud, making shady, shaking, so proud. When a lady wants a baby, there's a saying, she's crazy, we'll move out. It ain't always easy, but promise is beautiful. Welcome to the side that I'm sure. Baby, we'll move down. There will be trials, I'll help you through the trials.
Yes. Okay. So y'all already know this. I listen. If you watching, you get the dance party, the intro. If you're not watching, you just get the sound effects of what I think my dance parties sound like. And because the people who come on here also don't have good sense, they partake in the foolishness. So with all that said, welcome, mommies. Welcome to the other side of momming, because there's more to this mom life. If you don't know who I am by now, shame on you. But I am your host, T. Moore. And so we, I like to call it the evolution of motherhood. This is what this podcast really is we are evolving as women, right? And so we are not just one thing. I'm not just Sid, Savvy, and James' mom. I am still Tanisha. I'm still an individual. And that is what this podcast speaks to. And so we talk about the other side of motherhood. And so today we are talking about the other side of grief. So this is my disclaimer / trigger warning for you all. I want you to protect your peace at all times. And so this will be a heavy episode. If you are dealing with grief in any capacity, I implore you to listen to a different episode of one of the other podcasts that are a little lighter, because this may not be the one for you today. So we are going to be talking about death. We're going to be talking about death of a parent. And so fair warning. So protect your space, protect your mental, because even for me, this is probably going to be hard because I have my own feelings about death. So that is the disclaimer going out there. So today, my amazing sister friend. So funny story. When I met today's guest, I told her, like I tell most of my friends who don't believe me, you gonna be my best friend. Did I not tell you that, Kai? I did. And I said, that's just what it's going to be.
Correct.
And I said it with that much attitude, that much force to let her know we go together.
Correct.
And that's just how it has to be in this thing. So I would like to welcome my amazing sister friend, Kai Glover, to the other side today. Hand clap, hand clap, hand clap, hand clap. Kai, I would do you no justice. So tell the people a little brief, okay? Brief. Okay.
I got
about who you are. Okay, you're so cute today.
Oh, thank you, friend. Well, yes, my name is Kai. My name is Kyla, but I go by Kai. The short version is I used to work for a phone company, and I used to work in the government sector, and my clients loved me, and then they would go look me up on social media, and they couldn't do it because then we would lose the contract and we would get in trouble. So I had to change my name to Kai. And then all of a sudden that's just been what stuck. So my name is Kyla Glover, but I go by Kai Glover. I am a woman of God first and foremost. I'm a daddy's girl all day long. And I'm a makeup artist, professional makeup artist. I've been a makeup artist for 12 years now. I'm an airbrush makeup artist. I love what I get to do. It is an amazing thing when God takes his plan for you as women and being on your heart. And because you're creative, he meshes those two together. So it's a pretty amazing thing that I get to do. I'm a wife for, it'll be 13 years this year.
Praise God.
Baby. Okay, Jesus did that. And I am a mom. She's laughing. I'm a mom of 3. So I'm a bonus mom. I have a bonus baby. When I met my husband, his daughter, our daughter, she was 9 at the time, and she is turning 23 this year.
So crazy.
And that is my bonus baby. I love her. I always tell folks that she was the first person to call me mom. And I have two that I pushed out. So we'll start from the top. Top is Markajah. She's 23. McKenzie is 12, going on 22. And Edward is 9, going on 19. And
yes, he is.
So I'm also the creator of a women's empowerment group called I See You Girl, because I believe I see you, girl. I believe in sisterhood with the kingdom mindset, that you should see her heart before you see what she looks like. I think with the way that the racial tension was some years ago, God placed it on my heart that we were holding ourselves back from what could possibly be one of the best relationships that we would have, or sisterhoods that we could have, simply because they didn't look like us. And so I encourage women to look at the heart first.
Yes.
Before. So I'm all for it. And that is who I am.
That was a lot. Okay. It was not condensed. It's what it wasn't.
I tried. I think that was 30 seconds. I don't know how long that was, but I tried.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Cause yes. Well, we're going to kick it off with our momspirational quote. Now, okay. I don't know how inspirational this one will be, but I believe that it is helpful. Okay. And so the quote comes from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She is a psychiatrist, and it says, "The reality is that you will grieve forever. You will not get over the loss of a loved one. You will learn to live with it." Mm-hmm. So, let's dive into it. I think it's pretty spot on.
That Elizabeth, you said Elizabeth
Kubler-Ross.
She was talking about
Elizabeth. Well, she studies that. They said she's a near-death expert.
Oh well, honey, it sounds like it.
Yeah. Good. I mean, the rest of it was real good too. Like the whole quote, I was like,
the accuracy.
This is you. You studied this field, girl.
Maybe the accuracy. Yeah.
She do that. Yeah, Elizabeth. Yeah. That's Elizabeth. Whoever she is, shout out to you.
Yes, sis.
She said that. So when we think about grief, I mean, obviously, naturally, most people think about grief as a loss of a person, right? And it could be anyone. And I think what I've realized, I feel like 2020 kind of kicked off a lot of different things as far as just for me personally, it was COVID, obviously, but then people were dying. I remember my cousin died from pancreatic cancer, May of 2020. And I remember I was supposed to go on a trip with my line sisters to New Orleans. It happened to be the weekend of my dad's 60th birthday. And I ended up not going. And I ended up going to my dad's party. They had a surprise party for him, which wasn't a surprise because the Negro knew.
That's always fun.
Spoiler alert. And so, but my cousin was there. And it happened to be the last time I got to see him alive. And I remember thinking wow, that's wild. But I was grateful because I felt like God knew. He knew, because, God knows everything. I always tell people God has got an order. He makes literally, Correct. He makes no mistakes, even if we feel like it is a mistake. And so then it was my friend died from COVID complications the following year. And I mean, it gutted me because she's a mom and of a young child. And I was like, ooh, I don't like that. That was rough. And then one of my girlfriends from college died on Sid's birthday last year. And I was like, then my dog died. It was my dad, and so, all these just death. Right. And so I have a thing about it. And, I can't even imagine as my parents are getting older and they're aging, they're doing old people things,
old people stuff.
Real
talk.
What are you doing? Why are you?
They don't know.
What you mean? You was about to pass out on the airplane?
They don't know. I'm telling you, they don't know.
Well, that's what you, sir.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
You said your head been hurting for 3 weeks, Ma? What did you doing?
At what point did you, like, you're not going, okay, cool. Mm-hmm.
But I know that it's a part of life. It's the guarantee that we all have, the expiration date. So how do you navigate grief? Because I know you've had recently here your own experience with the heavy loss. How are you navigating that?
So that's, first of all, it's a very layered question. And I think that sometimes when we talk about grief, we're looking for a set definition. And what I am learning is that there is really no set definition for grief, right? So you may be able to look up, let me start with here. I lost my mom in October of 2022. It was unexpected. October the 1st, I was at the hospital with her. And this is for the listeners who, want a little bit of background, just so they have a place to go. So my mom has had sickle cell anemia, right, my entire life. So I was raised with, the hospital was not something that was uncommon, right? And so I remember at an early age being the person that she would lean on when she would get sick. It was myself, my father, and my brother. We all lived together. Small family of 4, real click tight. And so when she would get sick, I was the one that she would reach out to and say, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. And so in certain ways, our relationship from the very beginning was like, she leaned on me, I leaned on her type thing. So again, the hospital was nothing that was unfamiliar to me. This particular situation, of course, was different because she didn't come home. And the expectation was that she was, because she'd come home every other time before. And so you kind of walk into it thinking that it's going to be the same way that it's always been. And then when it is not, you're in a space where you're like, what happened? Like, what do you mean? Right. And so navigating through the process has been difficult. It's been eye-opening. It's been healing. It's been revealing. It's been complex. I'm learning you have to make space for grief. That's one of the first things that I learned early on. If you don't make intentional space for grief, then grief will begin to just make its own room for its own self. And if it has to make room for itself in you, then the roots are different, right? And so you have to be intentional about making the space so that you can keep your roots intact and that you can keep your roots pure and positive.
So when you're talking about roots, are you like, what are you talking about? Like kind of explain that.
So with roots, what I mean is grief, if you allow it, I have a saying, if you don't learn to respect grief, grief will disrespect you. And by saying that, what I mean is if you don't find the happy spaces, if you don't find, because grief itself is so layered and it has such a negative connotation, right? Like when we think about grief, immediately it's negative, right?
Right.
And to be honest, it is, because that's what it is. It's sad, it's awful, it's hurtful, it's hateful, it's all of those things, but it's also loving and it's also beautiful and also caring and it's also healing. And so when I say that, you have to be careful that you tend to it so that it does not root in those things that can begin to poison your body from the inside out, right? It poisons your spirit, it poisons your soul because of all of the heaviness that grief totes with it. If you are not intentional about making sure that you meet that heaviness with some type of light, then it'll suck the life out of you. That's what I mean when I say roots. Yeah.
That makes sense. I never thought of it like root taking. I tend to just avoid it. Like that's kind of always been my MO. Like
I've learned, to just like don't deal with it. And I think a lot of people run away from it because the grief is so, first of all, it's intimidating. Yeah. It's big. Yeah. Like it's huge, and I think to piggyback off of of our sister Liz, Lizzie Liz, who made that I get folks.
Not Lizzie. Who is all right, Elizabeth, if you happen to be listening, you're Lizzie Liz. Lizzie Liz.
My sister Lizzie Liz. What I think people don't realize is and you're grieving 90% of the time. 90%. Like this is like books. This isn't like made up. This isn't my own opinion. Like this is studies say you grieve 90% of the time. And that's literally because the world keeps going.
Yep. So you find yourself having that survivor's remorse, like often, like.
Oh yeah. Like you sometimes you'll find yourself feeling guilty for being happy. Or enjoying a moment, right? Like I remember, so and I say this to people who are tackling grief, and you mentioned like, not dealing with it. It's one of those things where depending on how heavy it is for you, right? Because some people it may not be, but I will say grief affects every person, period. Whether you are aware of it or not, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, like that's your business, right? But it does affect you. And what I have seen, and this is just my experience, is that people who are intentional about going through and processing grief and walking through grief tend to be a little less angry, frustrated, more approachable, kinder than those who bottle it up inside and choose not to deal with it because they're afraid of what they're going to feel. The truth is you're going to feel regardless.
Right. We're feeling people. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I just don't understand the idea of I don't want to feel. Well, you should ask God to make you without feelings because apparently, newsflash, we all got it. Okay?
We got them.
And it's up to you. So I've learned that what ends up happening is it can come across that's one of the things when I say, if you don't respect grief, it will disrespect you because then it has to come out. It literally has to come out. And so if you don't create the space, if you don't give it good roots, when it comes out, you will begin to project. You will be angry. You will lash. You will be standoffish. You will shut down. You will have a wall. And then what happens is the people who experience you, who are still here, who still love you, they have a piss poor experience. They have a disadvantage because you won't deal with the emotions that are tied to the grief. You can feel.
I like to just kill characters off in my books. What? I do. I like to. That's how I deal with my grief. I realize that's what I do. I have old people in my book, and I just off them. And I do. I mean, this is
like
what
natural causes, or like do they like?
Nah,
like what?
It'd be real.
So many questions.
It'd be real dramatic. It don't be regular death. It'd be like I go research for something to kill them off with. So this is how I deal with my grandmother's death. Like my granny.
Yeah.
Listen, Gussie name has Nana call her Gussie. I'm like, yeah, baby, let me tell you, if she was here, she would have knocked fire for you. Nobody call her, you call her May. Call her May, but we don't call her that. But baby. So I didn't realize that's what I was doing. And so in the book that I'm working on, this novel, baby, they was advocating for Big Mom. So when this book come out, just know Big Mom is only Big Mom was supposed to be dead. Okay, this is the only spoiler alert y'all get from this book. When y'all get it, when y'all read the character Big Mom, know that I had killed her at least 5,000 ways, so many different ways. Yo, she was dead, and people advocated for her. People told me they was triggered and traumatized because I insisted she will die. She just ain't gonna die in this book. And this is how I deal with my trauma and my grief.
You see here? We just kill folks off. This is an example.
This is an example of dealing with my grief. It is how I process death. I deal with it on the pages. And yeah, so she gonna live
she
this
makes
time.
it this time, but
This time,
rest assured,
her time is count your days, Big Ma. Count your days. It's coming. And
okay.
I say this. Yeah, sorry. But yes, this is, but on a more serious note, this it's a healthy way, right? To deal with it, because I remember when my grandfather passed. So it was about 9 months, and I was working in Huntsville, and I remember I was really like, I don't know, for some reason I couldn't allow myself. Like, I was like, I got to take Sid to the doctors, because this was when we were dealing with her discovering she had sickle cell trait, and wasn't a shocker because I have the trait, and so
you know, so talk to you about that a little bit too. It's amazing.
Traits, baby. And so I was like, okay, it was almost like I wasn't allowing myself to grieve. And then we get to Georgia for the day of the funeral, and I remember walking in the house. I was like, "Ooh, tears! Where'd they come from?"
Yes.
And I had one job. I was tasked with one job. It was to read, like, I guess, to his bio, right? Jamaicans are rude, but anyway, I will finish.
I agree.
So, okay,
I know this.
And so, yes. And so I get up there. Everybody's read. My little cousins, they didn't read their little P's. Everybody's together. Okay. I laugh at it now because it is funny now. But I get up there and I prepare myself to read. And I have been practicing. As I'm in the pew, I'm practicing, trying to pull it together. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read this. It's gonna be great. You know, I can read. I said the man's name. I put the microphone down and laid across the podium. And it that was all the end of that? Came out. That was in there. And then my dad, he comes up there and he's like, oh, rubbing my back. First, do you think you can finish reading? Nigga, no, I can't finish reading.
I can't see the
I
words.
can't even see the words of the paper. So then do this. He comes and he gets me. He's holding sitting. They escort me out. I mean, it's the whole thing. I mean, at this point, everybody's crying at this point. Because,
of course.
I mean, I didn't even.
Emotions are high.
Yeah, I didn't even try. And
I'm looking for my AirPods. I know you don't say it.
Not. Wait a minute. But yes, as long as you know. But so personality-wise, that's not something I would do.
Right.
But in that moment, I couldn't. And so it's kind of been the running joke. Almost
that you couldn't get through it. Well, I think that it's,
they say you had one job. There's like the pastor asked, the pastor asked, could I read? And they was like, you showed that you couldn't read. I was like, first of all,
we're not going to do. And y'all know
right,
better.
Like, y'all know better.
Why I struggled.
Right.
So don't act like I got up there and I was just didn't know how to pronounce it. Like,
I'm a whole lawyer. I got a whole
a living.
Right. Juris Doctorate. I write books. Okay. Do you want me to throw my credentials? I can read. But in this moment, okay,
all I have is his name.
All I had was Everett Francis Roy, and that's all I could give you.
That's all I can give you right now, bro.
That's all. But but holding that in was so taxing on me. And to even I think when my grandmother had passed, it was very taxing. I do not wash clothes, by the way, on New Year's Day because she died January 1st. And I was on a phone call, true story, on a phone call with a friend. We were just talking. We were doing laundry. And she's like, girl, don't you know? Because I'm like, I believe in Jesus. Okay.
I know what you're talking about. If you wash your clothes, you wash people out your life.
Wash somebody else. I was like, devil is a lie.
Yeah.
Okay. Because what you not going to do, and I washed Granny right on out. And
okay.
Okay. So I don't wash clothes on New Year's Day. I wash it 31st, January 2nd. Not New Year's Day. Okay. We're just not going to make it. So if it ain't washed
it ain't going to be, it's just going to be dirty until the 2nd of January.
Until the 2nd. And that's fine.
Yes.
It's fine. there's dirty. I mean, the clothes you wore on the first are dirty anyway, so
that doesn't matter. Correct.
It doesn't. Correct. Yeah, but I'm not going to do it because now if you wash out on the 2nd or the 31st, then I may go back to washing clothes on the 1st. But as of this has been since 2006. I have not.
Oh, you real too?
Like my grandmother died January 1, 2000. I have not washed clothes. Now my mother was brave and she did, and I just knew somebody was going to die. I was waiting for the call.
I think, it's so funny because, and people, we can make light of it now because, like, you go through it. But it's funny because that's one of the things, like, that's how it changes you, though.
Yeah.
Like, it changes you. And you find yourself not washing clothes on New Year's Day because you're like, hey, my connection to washing, my granny passed away. So
yeah, won't do it. I mean, and she was on hospice. Like she was going to go to glory at some
regardless. Point. Right.
However,
it just so happened to be.
Yeah. And it was just right. It was a couple of hours after that phone call. And I was like, yo, maybe there's some truth to this. I won't do that. And I don't do superstitions to begin with. And not even because I'm a believer or anything. I just
don't care.
I just don't care. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's cute. Yeah. But that one?
Yeah.
I might ride that one till the wheels fall off. Yeah, that might be the one. That might be the one. I was like, girl, people tell me they washing. You washing clothes?
You ain't heard this?
Somebody about to die tonight.
I'm so weak. You so brave. Like
I do. I really, girl. When my mama did it, I was nervous. I said, "Ooh."
Let me just stay home and sit in this one spot because what you not going to do was Final Destination me.
Yo, that movie was so terrifying. Do you know I still
to this day
look at a car wash
truck? I won't look behind
with the wood,
baby. No, won't catch me. Won't catch me. No, and then I'd be upset when folks don't let me over. You must not have seen Final Destination, friend. You need to.
You must not know. You must not know. There's a demon on them logs trying to get you.
No.
You won't do it to me.
That's
not
so
today. But you're right. We have to let it out. And it's when you said how it comes out like, I'll be out here killing people in these books.
It's gonna come out. And and everyone is not like that. People deal with death and grief in so many different ways. That's why I say Webster has its own definition of grief, because it's like a generalized definition of it. But I really believe that grief is, it's personal. What does grief look like for you? Right. And so, I'm learning that, grief truly is love. That's what it is. It's love that has nowhere to go right now. Right. And so, we were created to love. We were created that love, love, God gives us love, and we are literally a channel that pushes it out. Right.
Yeah.
And so when that type of thing happens and it happens abruptly, you shut it off. And then all of it, but it's the place to go that shuts off, not the pouring of it. Right. And so it's literally you still have so much left to give, but it's like you're hitting a wall because you don't have that person here. And so you're having to teach yourself how to redirect it. Where do I pour it? What do I do? And then understanding that love will never shut off, which means that is why grief never stops. Okay, you will grieve for the rest of your life because the love never shuts off. If the love shuts off, then possibly, right? But I've never known a person to lose someone that they love and then all of a sudden they no longer love them. Right?
We're not talking about the person you don't like or didn't care for who passed on with glory.
We're talking about someone who your whole heart and soul, right? And so I think that because I know that about grief, I am so dead set to make sure that my roots are made of love, and they're rooted in love, right? I don't. There's going to be status attached, right? Because that was my mom, right? And when I say mom, I'm not just saying my mom, right? So let me make sure that I paint that picture, right? Like, this is the
this
person
was your rock.
This was my rock. This was my person. This was my girl. This was my best friend. So it's like sometimes you lose people, and you can and I don't want to say this and minimize it because I don't know who that is, right? But some people have not ever met their mother, right? And so the way that they may feel about their auntie is how I feel about my mom. Or the way they may feel about their cousin is how I feel about my mom. Or how you may feel about a friend or your spouse or whoever your person is, whoever that person is for you. It is completely different because you lose more than just the title. You lose more than just the person, right?
So good.
It's so understanding that and giving and making room and space for all of who that person was to you, right? And respectfully grieving each one of them, right? I'm grieving the fact that my mom is not here. I'm grieving the fact that my best friend is not here. I'm grieving the fact that my support system is not here. I'm grieving the fact of all of these things. And I'm realizing now that, okay, she was all of this. So now I have all of this space. And I tell folks all the time, I feel like there's always, there will forever be a space that no one will ever feel for whoever that person is for you. And you would be a fool. And I mean this, and listen, and I'm saying this with as much love as I possibly can. But you would be a whole fool if you think that you're going to find somebody to fill it up, because that was never carved out for them from the beginning, right? Like you've got to be able to allow that person and all that they were and all that they have always been to you to be that space is done. Like that space for my mom, that's hers. Like, I know that. And so one of the things that I love when people say, listen, I'm not going to ever try to replace her. Right. Yeah. And they're like, I'm just going to be here. And I'm like, okay, great. Because, nobody's going to replace you. No way. Right. Nobody can do it. No way. Right. But I'm not, some folks immediately try to look for, like, who can fill this space? What can make me feel better? Because it's like that. It sucks. Yeah. You got to feel better. But I think that if you take the time to honor and respect and love and allow whoever that person was for you to be what fills that box that they made, that they created, that they filled, and you get to hold on to that. And now you get to open up and possibly have other people fill their boxes in different ways now, because you're going to naturally want certain things. You're going to build, as my therapist likes to tell me, you may not have a single person, but you may have persons, and you may build what I like to call as a quilt. Yeah. Right. And that's, this person is for this. They make me laugh like she did. Yeah. Bit, right. This person makes me think like she did. This person challenges me like she did. So it may not be a single person, but you may end up having to make a quilt. And that then becomes your support system, and you have more people to make up that one person. So it's
that makes sense.
It's layered.
Yeah, it is, because I think about my girlfriend. She's been on the show, Ebony, whose sister passed away. And when we met, I think her sister had only passed maybe a year or two out. And, it feels very ordained, the way we connected. And I'm fully aware I'm not here to replace by any stretch of the imagination. But I was positioned for her to come into that life, not to necessarily feel the space that Tia had, but just to let her know, hey, I'm also your sister. Like, God is positioning me here to be. So I am your sister. Yeah. These three kids are now your nieces and nephew. Yeah. Like we connected on such a deep soul level. That, it's really weird to kind of describe the way
I get it.
Our relationship has been, but you know that it was God ordained. Like, like you just know, like, it was one of them things. And so watching her kind of navigate the grief of her sister, the loss of her sister, and giving her that space, and just kind of through her learning how to speak to people who are grieving, because that's another thing that people struggle with. And we talked about this here y'all on the infertility episode as far as like what to say to people. Like, ooh,
that's tough.
Because people just be saying stuff.
They say all kinds of stuff.
And while, yes, you might mean well, but
I think,
no.
I agree. I feel like sometimes because you don't know what to say, you just, and they, oh God, like they really do mean well. Like, you know, they really do.
We and need you just, to get like Job's wife and shut up.
Well, yes. And so let me tell you this. I praise God because I will say this though, and that's for folks who have said it. And this is, maybe I'll just speak for me. If a person is grieving 8 times out of 10, I think that's a safe estimate. They probably heard nothing that you said.
Probably not even a little bit.
I'm just going to tell you ahead of time. Like, I appreciate you. I'm going to acknowledge. I found myself acknowledging often. But if you ask me, all the things that were said, all of the condolences that were sent, I probably remember a good handful of them, right?
Yeah.
But, and it doesn't mean that it didn't mean anything. It just means that your judgment in that
space to receive.
You're just not. And so you know that it's going to happen. You know that people are going to be here to give you their condolences. You know what's happening. But I think that sometimes, and I want to make sure I say this, it is very difficult sometimes to accept the condolences because you also know why they're coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it just, it's more reality that that person that they're giving you condolences for is not here.
No longer here. Yeah.
And so sometimes it's difficult and it's a human thing, right? And so sometimes it's just difficult sometimes to be like, yes, thank you. Oh, yes, thank you. Oh, yes, thank you. And you're going to say all of that, but those are constant reminders that, man, like, the reason why you're telling me that you are praying for me and that you're sending your condolences to me is because my mom died. And so you are still trying to wrap your brain around it. And so everything, especially in the very beginning, everything for like that first week up, I would say everything that leads up to whenever you decide to have the funeral, right? Yeah. It's intense. It's heavy. Everything is a reminder of the fact that that person is not here. And so in some ways, people get angry when people give them their condolences, or they do say things because they are angry because they're being reminded. Right. And they may not respond or they may not react because it's a reminder. Right. But I think in that space, like, you know, like be mindful of what you're saying. Like, don't just say anything. Please don't just say anything. But I definitely think that it is a good thing to say, hey, I'm praying for you. You know, you're on my, you know, I get it or whatever.
Kind of leave those there.
Leave that there. Give them their space. Give them their time to process because it's going to take a minute. And they're not going to hear you no way.
And don't do the whole thing. They're in a better place with the Lord.
Please don't.
Don't do that.
And let me tell you something.
And don't tell them what somebody would wish for them. Like if they would want you to be happy. They might. I don't know. But like, don't.
And what's interesting is because right then and there you are having, it's a huge, and says, I'm be honest, it is a huge conflict between your brain and your heart.
Correct.
War. Right? Because your brain says they're not here. They're no longer hurting. They are in a better place. That your family, you know, they would want you not to be hurt. They would want
stuff
you not to be sad.
You probably logically know.
You logically, practically, absolutely makes sense. Understand. But from a heart perspective, from an emotional perspective, none of that makes sense. And none of that matters. Because at the end of the day, you want your person back.
Correct.
And that's not going to ever change. Like, there's nothing that's going to ever change that you just wish that you were. There are going to be moments you're going to say, I wish they were here for this. I wish that they were here for this. And it's literally going to be every single day. And so while you know these things, I had a video that I posted not too long ago on my social media, and it talked about your head knowing, but your heart being afraid. Right?
Yeah.
You know, your head knows that God is still good. Your head knows that he's all worthy. Your head knows that you can trust him, but your heart is wounded because of the level of hurt and the depth of hurt. And so you are trying to your head is trying to convince your heart that it's okay, but your heart is like, but it hurts so bad. So I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And so you are, and that happens for a while. And and you can be like Bible scholar, Bible caring, but when you lose someone like that, it literally shakes your whole world. And you're tested. Everything that you've ever believed, everything that you were ever taught, all of the things that you were taught, and God is this, all of that is tested because
I remember
this type of pain before.
Correct. I remember when my granny died, that's how I felt. I felt, because that was my prayer warrior. That was who taught me how to pray. This was the woman who I remember seeing her at her kitchen table, or she was in her room and she was praying. And like, the same person would tell me to go outside and get a switch. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that, but I'll be outside. I'll just go outside because I'm not doing that for you.
You forget.
Right. She didn't forget, but she wasn't going to do it. Yeah. But little short self. But I just remember for the longest time, and I remember my grandfather, Papa, telling him, and he had to kind of help talk me through it, because I was just like, coming to this house is weird. Like, she's not here, but I feel her and everything. And even though she's been gone for as long as she's been gone for, there's just moments, it was like you say, it just hit you, because we were close to, my mom's mom. And, you just like, oh, like my sister made a post one year on the anniversary of her passing. And she's like, I'm forgetting your voice. For whatever reason, shook me and my mom. Ooh, messed us. I mean, that was a couple of years ago, like threw me for a loop, because it's like, dang, I haven't, I used to be able to imitate her voice real good and be like, Freddie.
Yeah.
And, because she had this little high pitched voice.
Yeah.
And it was just weird. And so it's just like, it ebbs and flows. And I think, we talking about, people, but there's so much grief that comes with, I think, kind of being a mom. Like when you become a mom, you kind of, that we don't talk about because we don't get the space to do it. You know what I mean? To grieve being single, that life before the children came, before the significant other came, and things shifted, and we were not given permission to grieve. And I think so oftentimes as women, especially as mothers, we're never given opportunity to grieve, because we still got to perform, so to speak. We still got to be on. It's just like, even when we're sick, you're still talking to me and I'm sick. I am near death myself, and you still want me to make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. When there's another
best grilled cheese. Well, today,
I don't. Today, I'm not.
Just gonna be your friend,
right? Or starve. Yeah, as they said in Beauty and the Beast, starve. Like, there's options here,
right?
I mean, so, and I think we need to, as moms, we have to start carving out space,
absolutely,
for ourselves,
absolutely,
to grieve whatever losses, absolutely, for our self-care. Absolutely. And so, as you've been in this space of grieving, what have you done to like carve space to do that? Like, what has been helpful for you to be like, okay, I need a moment family, or I need a moment clients. I need a moment to just be. What have you been doing to kind of help with that?
Such a good question. So from the business perspective, when my mom passed October 1st of last year, as a makeup artist, anyone in this industry knows that, especially in the South, anyone in this industry knows that September, October are like huge wedding months, right? Because finally it's hot as hell outside, right? And so, I think that, so let's start from the business perspective. I had just done a makeup for a bride. Her wedding was actually the day that my mom passed away. I had been to her house that Friday to do makeup for them for a rehearsal dinner and stuff like that. And I left all my things there with the intention of coming back the next morning. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be back, right? That didn't happen. And so from a business perspective, I praise God, because all of my clients, and I mean all of my clients, had been so understanding, right? Like, I had to give deposits back. I had to find people to cover, and God places people in your life that you may not understand or know why they're there initially, but then things like this happen and all of a sudden you go, oh my God, this is why you're here, right? And so I was able to call on one of my sister friends who's also a makeup artist to step in for the things that I could not do. And so what I will first say is to carve out space is to take a step back, give yourself time from the business perspective, right? Because it is unkind for you to ask of yourself to show up in the capacity that you've always shown up when there is a part of you that is literally missing.
Right.
It is so unkind to you, for yourself, like for you to do that to you, right? And it would have been unfair for me to do that to myself. And I had to come to a space where whether my clients understood or not, right? Yeah. I had to make sure that I was showing up for me in that space and in that capacity, right? I mean, you don't want me doing your makeup, no way, because I'm not going to be able to focus. I'm going to be crying the whole time, snotting, crying. It's going to be a fool, right? And so
it's going to be a mess.
I'm know what's going on, right? So that's the first thing when it comes to clients. When it comes to carving out the space as a mother, I will say to any mom, it's a very interesting thing to be a mom who's lost her mom. Because you still want yours. Yeah. And because of that, what that has taught me is that my children still deserve me. Right. But they also deserve me to be transparent with them. So my children and I have this thing where I am very, and you know, sis, like I'll tell them, and this has nothing to do with like death or whatever, but I'll tell them in a minute, mommy is overstimulated. Y'all got a whole lot going on. Like, give me a second. Everything is making noise. Anything that can make noise in this house is making noise right now. And so everything is happening. And that's kind of how grief is to a degree, because it never turns off. And so you may have moments where it's louder than the other moment before, and you need to have a quiet moment, right? And so I've been very transparent with my children and allowing them first to see me grieve. I think that it is also unfair for you to hide your grief from your children, because you're teaching them how to bottle up their own emotions. You feel, right? And just because you're an adult doesn't mean that you don't have feelings. And I think that sometimes it's this idea that we have to paint this picture to our kids.
Yeah,
that we are
protect them from something.
I'm so strong and you don't cry. And I'm an adult, so I'm a superhero. First of all, I'm not. I could tell you right now, I'm not a superhero. I cry. And especially after I turned 30. I don't know what happened.
It just happens.
And so
hormones or something. I don't know.
Turned 30 and baby, the waterworks was in full effect. And so, but I've been honest with them. I've been transparent with them. When I'm having a moment, I'll tell them I'm having a moment. Give me a second. Mama needs a minute. And my daughter especially will be, are you missing Nana? And I don't say, no, I'm fine. I say, yes. And it's a tough moment right now. And she goes, okay. And then she'll give me the space and you'll be shocked by how your children will respond to your pain.
Yeah.
How they
we have to teach kids. This is a part of actual life. Like this happens, and death is no respecter of age or person. It is going to happen. There are not always, and as you know, something as a children's book writer as well, that I sometimes challenge is we try to shield kids from the bad things in these books. But there are kids who are, yes, books should be an escape for them, for sure. 1000%. However, there needs to be space in the industry that really deals with hard things. And there are books that are out there, but they're not that look like us.
Agreed.
But another topic, another day. But we need to show, hey, this is grief. The grief of a sibling, grief of a grandparent, grief of a parent, grief of a dog.
Yes. And it's okay.
When Prada died, baby.
Oh, I know. We talked because they're part of your family.
I think you called me that day.
I did.
And I was child, a mess. You hear me? Yeah, but I didn't realize how it affected the kids.
Yes.
And Sydney, I mean, sometimes she'll just randomly just say, I miss Prada.
Yes.
And I was like, and I know I'm talking about my dog, but like this baby was a part of she came when I was having like depression and heartbreak and all this stuff. Like she was my girl. Love that little dog. And sometimes I just look over at the crate and I'm like, man, she's really not here. Or having like finally move her dog, but like it took a minute to like move stuff. And then there's this moments where I just think about her and I just like, man, like she's really gone. Like the dog is really in this canister. But she was on the bookshelf, but I moved her. But
okay. I will say this is a funny story. But something really funny. Okay, y'all. So this is funny. This is T knows I got no sense. I'm gonna share this with y'all, and I'm gonna tell y'all how my mind works. And anyway, it's ridiculous. So pray for me. But this is what I'm gonna say. So we were at my mom's repast, and you talking about the puppy being on the shelf. This is what reminded me of. So, by no means was there ever any plans to cremate my mother, right? Like I just can't do it. It's a little interesting.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not the person that's going to tote you. I'm just not. I'm not going to tote you. That's your business. Hey, if you can tote people, tote them all you want. But I'm not toting you, okay? So
you're not going to tote me?
I'm not.
Don't tote me.
I won't tote you.
Don't do that.
I promise you'll sit right there. Now, I love you. But that'll have to be between your husband and your children. And I'll be the friend that said, I'm going to pray for y'all. And you let me know when, you go. And I'll be FaceTime me in. Because I will lose my mind. I can't. So, okay. So listen. So stay focused. So we're at the repast. And so one of my, first of all, let me say this. Funerals and weddings bring everybody together. Okay.
They do.
And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. Okay. And so I love my family. My family knows I love me. And my family knows I love my family also knows that we have some very interesting people a part of it. And so we tend to get tickled. So here's what happens. So we're at the repast and I'm going through and I'm telling people, thank you for coming. And I love them and things like that. And I mean that, and I'm like, because you really came and, you grieved with us. And there is power in grieving together. I will say that too. And so I was speaking with my aunt's boyfriend, and he's like, "Oh, I'm really, really sorry about your mom." And I'm like, "You know what? I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Whatever." And he goes, "My mom died like 2 weeks ago. It was like either a week or 2 weeks ago." And my first thought is like, "What you doing here? Like, how you gonna do 2 funerals back to back, right?" And because I couldn't imagine, right?
Like, correct.
There's just no way. I'll have to send you a card. And I mean that. So he goes, yeah. And I'm like, oh man, like, dang, I'm so sorry, right? Legit, I am. So he says, yeah, this, but I always got her with her. She's right here. And so when he says that, guys, I know you don't see me if you're just listening. He holds up his necklace. Okay. And in his necklace, some of her remains. And so because of who I am, and if you don't know me, you should know that and T is doing all this because she already knows that my face said it all. And so for me,
because you're looking at him disgusted. You got human remains around your neck proudly? Dead ashes. Like if this pops open, dead people is upon me. Dead is.
Girl, I was like, oh.
Well, God bless.
Okay. And he's like, yeah, I'll carry it with me. And I'm like,
look at him shaking it around like a salt shaker.
And I'm like, yeah, okay. And the whole time I'm thinking, oh my God.
You're so disgusted in this moment.
She's in
all you think about.
Like,
too. Yes.
So I'm telling you, so that when I say to you, like, people handle it in
different ways, baby. Because let me tell you, I love Elvis and I love Jenny, but where they won't be is around my neck.
I guarantee it.
I can promise you that.
Yeah. How say I promise you that?
They might be on the shelf next to Prada.
Well, and so you and that's it. Like,
and that's if they decide to be there, because I'm not going to creature made them either.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I can't. Like, and that's just a little funny story. But I think that it's so funny because I was so tickled because I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I said, well, thank you so much for coming. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
I appreciate your condolence. Thank you.
And I'm sorry for your loss too, by the way.
Okay.
But yeah, so
God bless.
that was a commercial break. But you asked me that. So giving them space and then making sure that you create space for them too. Because your children are going to feel
so they need to grieve too.
I think it's important. You mentioned about talking about Prada. You know, I will say in the very beginning, when McKenzie grieves, she grieves different than I do. And so it was uncomfortable at first. Mm-hmm. And I had to learn that she likes to talk. Like, okay, we come home, we have to tell the children what's happened. And I am like running this conversation over in my head over and over and over. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, so we get there and we tell them. And of course, they're broken and they are shocked just like we are. Because it doesn't make sense when you're talking about it, especially fresh. And she was like the one that immediately wants to go watch a video of my mom.
Absolutely not.
Okay. And so for me, I'm like, what are you doing? Right?
What is the Wakanda is with this?
How are you even but for her, right? And
that's
I had
what
to
she
learn
needed
later that she had to be able, for her, she has to be able to go back and be able to watch those movies.
She has to see the memories.
She has to see that. And whereas for me in that space, I was trying not to accept.
I'm a hider. Yeah, I'm a hider. Hide everything.
Accept it. I can't. Give me a second to even. And so, process. But she is like that. So she'll bring up like, Mom, I remember when Nana. And so I had to create space for my children too. Yeah. Because it's not just you. It's one of the things where it's called they call it shared loss. And when you have a shared loss, you have to be able to respect the fact that everybody is grieving at the same time. And that's why sometimes when grief happens like that, some people in some relationships don't make it because they can't go through the grief together, because they're both suffering. Yeah, they're both suffering, And so, but making sure that you let them know that you're being transparent with your children, giving them the space that they need, so that they can grieve and showing them the healthy way to grieve so that they can become adults who know how to articulate their emotions, articulate their feelings, and be okay with that. And that's been really important for our son because he's like kind of like, and I'm not going to generalize most men because that's a stereotype, but in my experience, for a lot of the men that I've known, they have a tendency to be uncomfortable with it,
the feelings,
the feelings, and so they tend to shy away from it. And then what ends up happening is, like we talk about, like it comes out in your writing, right? It may come out, and so for him, it started coming out in his behavior, right? It started coming out, and his grades started to suffer. Yeah, and I remember sitting him down one day because it had gotten to a place where I was like, listen, we have got to have a come to Jesus talk because this is a fool, right? And I said to him, you are not the only person that lost someone who you love. Everyone in this home lost the same person. Now, she meant different things to each one of us, but we are all hurting in the same way. We're hurting because of the same reason, right? It may be different, but it is not fair for you because you won't deal with, or you won't handle, or you won't walk through, or you're afraid, right? It's not fair for you to project all this anger, all these feelings and all these emotions on other people and beat up on other people because you're upset and you're sad, right? Yeah. And so because I know that that's what this is attached to, let's have a conversation about it. And so you may have to take the time out to talk to one of your kids more often because you know they're not going to come to you.
Yeah. Put them in therapy, do something like
and
play therapy.
Offers that. I didn't know that. I had learned that.
Hospice really?
Hospice, if you're looking or you know that your child is having an issue or they're struggling with grief in that way, there are some, check with your local hospice because hospice will do what they call group therapy and play therapy with children, and all the children come together. And what happens is they begin to have conversations with other children who've experienced the loss. and they're in a safe space to be able to do that, to be able to share. And so that is something that we are definitely looking into for our son, because he's having a more difficult time with walking through the process and understanding the feelings.
Yeah, because they're new feelings too, and I'm just such a huge proponent of therapy. Just I mean, for any and everything. Like, baby, if the dogs need therapy, I put them in. They could go to therapy if they need therapy.
Well, they do have that. I've heard.
Do they?
They have play therapy for dogs.
Don't.
Well, isn't that what Caesar does? Isn't that what he does?
Who is Caesar?
You know who is Caesar? Girl, look him up.
The little white dog. The little white dog on.
Okay, first of all, Caesar's a guy. He's a whole man.
Oh, you're not talking about the food. You're not talking about the dog food, Caesar.
No, the man. You never heard of him? I'm gonna send it to you after. He's all on television, but he's like a dog whisperer
thing.
Yes, it's pretty remarkable.
I might call Caesar.
He's pretty remarkable. He's pretty awesome.
Because these dogs,
they can be a little cray cray. Now, therapy, I'm happy to mention it. I tell people, if you've not started, you should definitely, if you're grieving, I strongly suggest that you go to therapy, whether it's a group thing or it's individual. Now, I learned that grief therapy, as far as a group session, that ain't for me. That ain't my cup of tea.
Goodbye.
Can't do it. I tried, and I had to tell my therapist I did try, and that is not my thing. And she said that's completely fine. It is not. That
would have been too heavy for me. Yeah, I don't want to be in no. I don't want to be in the setting because, and then also I don't want to go through the Olympics of minimizing my traumas or minimizing my experience because someone else tells their story and it sounds really, really sad or sadder than mine. And people do that. They tend to minimize a lot of things
because you begin
that
to
people go through. Yeah. We compare everything as humans. And I mean, I guess it's human nature, but we don't got time to be doing that. So, as we get ready to like wind down, what is one thing you would share with moms walking through this journey? I mean, because it's part of life. It's a thing that happens. We'll all experience it at some point or another. But what is just one thing that you would tell these mamas out here?
So, mom, if you lost someone, whoever that person is for you, what I would tell you is to give yourself tons of grace. Because sis, you're going to need it. Be patient with you. Be patient with you. You've had however many years you've had to love that person, to spend time with that person, to share yourself, to share your life with that person. It is not going to shut off in a day, in 2 days, in 2 months. It may not even shut off in 2 years. And I'll be honest, I don't think it's going to shut off ever, right? But I think that the biggest thing that you can do for yourself is to be gracious to yourself and to just make room for you. Make room for you in that space of going, I don't have to have all the answers right now.
Yeah.
Nobody expects me to. And if they expect you to have all the answers, kick them to the, I mean this, like put them in timeout because no.
Reevaluate
that. Right. And I'm being 100% honest about it.
I don't care who it is.
I don't care. I don't care.
Best friend, cousin.
But you got to give yourself grace. You got to give yourself grace because you'll find yourself as moms. Oftentimes we show up in spite of. Remember we talked about if I'm sick, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do all of that. And so sometimes you get the guilt that's attached to not being able to show up because you miss that person. And so, but you got to give yourself grace because that'll help you get to the healing and the other side of it. More than anything else. So give yourself grace. You're going to need it. Lots of it.
Lots of grace. We love grace over here.
Yes, honey.
Yeah, we live in that grace. We got to. So this has been amazing. There were laughs and not a lot of tears.
Not no tears. Listen.
I did my job.
You did. I had to kiss you on deck.
You was ready though. You was ready. So tell people, what are you doing and how they can connect with you if you are out here on Beyonce's internet.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. What's
So
the goings on?
What's the goings on? So I am in the process of sharing the story through grief, my grief story and my journey on all of my social media platforms. So because I believe that this journey is not just for me. None of the things that I've gone through are just for me. So I believe in sharing, and there's healing in that. So you can look me up on IG at Kai Glover, MUA, because I'm a makeup artist, not moi. Okay, that's not a kiss, although, yeah. But it's Kai, K-Y, Glover, Glover, MUA. And that's on Instagram. And then Facebook is the same thing, hyphen makeup artist. So it's Kai Glover, MUA, hyphen, or dash, right? Dash, hyphen, whatever.
Makeup all artist. The same. All the same. But don't worry, we'll put it in the show notes.
And I would love to have you. I would come join.
Yes, come get those. Work. We do a lot of gems being dropped over there on her space. A very safe space. We love it. And we love you.
I love you.
But thank you for coming and joining me today on the other side.
Thank you for having me.
It's been good. It's been good. And to my mommies out there, we see you. You know how we do. We see you on the other side, y'all. Bye.